Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj Ki Jai.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagunaraganatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidam Sya Om Jnana Timaranda Shagyanajana Shlakaya Shakshurun Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bistam Supurakam Gurgana Rasisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govinda Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwaguruncha Divyad Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanam Suchandavaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhantanidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Madeka Sharanam Yashishvara Shridharam Manshakopatarubyasya Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila, Chapter 4, Sanatan Goswami visits the Lord at Jagannath Puri. Verse number 1. Vrindavanat punapraptam Shri Gora Sri Sanatanam Dehapatad Aban Snehat Shudam Chakre Parikshaya. When Sanatana Goswami returned from Vrindaban, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu affectionately saved him from his determination to commit suicide. Then after testing him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu purified his body. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Sri Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nila Chala Hoite Rupa Gore Jabe Gela Mathura Hoite Sanatana Nila Chala Aila. When Srila Rupa Goswami returned from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, Sanatana Goswami went from Mathura to Jagannath Puri to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jharikanda Venapate Aila Ekela Chaliya Kabu Pavas Kabu Charvana Korea. Sanatana Goswami walked alone on the path through the Jharikanda Forest in central India. Sometimes he fasted and sometimes he would eat. Jharikander Jalardoshe Upavasa Hoite Gatre Kandu Hoila Rasapare Gujayaite. Because of bad water in the Jharikanda forest and because of fasting, Sanatana Goswami contracted a disease that made his body itch. Thus he was afflicted with itching sores from which fluid oozed. Nirbeda hoila pate korana bichar nichajate dehumora atyanta asar. In disappointment, Sanatana Goswami considered, I am of a low caste and my body is useless for devotional service. Jagannatha gele tara darshana naipaimu prabodha darshana sara korite narimu. When I go to Jagannath Puri, I shall not be able to see Lord Jagannath, nor shall I always be able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mandira nikate shune tarabasa stiti, mandira nikate jaite moranahi shakti. I have heard that the residential quarters of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are near the temple of Jagannath, but I shall not have the power to go near the temple. Jagannathera sevaka fere karya anurode tara sparsha hoile mora habe aparade. The servants of Lord Jagannath generally move about tending to their duties, but if they touch me, I shall be an offender. Tate jariye deho balo stane diye dukashante hoy ara sad gati paye. Therefore, if I sacrifice his body in a good place, my unhappiness will be mitigated and I shall attain an exalted destination. So perhaps in the present time in which we live, difficult times, we can understand a little more of the plight of Sanatan Goswami. First of all, he and Rupa Goswami had been in the employment of the Muslim government. They even had Muslim names, Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik. So they now they had come to Mahaprabhu, shelter of his lotus feet. So all the things will be washed away by having surrendered to Mahaprabhu and engaging themselves in his mission. But still, they never tried to go into the temple of Jagannath, and they considered that they were outside of the Hindu society by nature of having been employed in the Muslim government. And second thing is that Sanatan Goswami has sores all over his body from getting some disease when he went through Jharikanda, and he's afraid of touching Mahaprabhu or any of the servants of Jagannath accidentally, and therefore he considers that his position is doubly condemned. He can't go into the temple, and at the same time he's feeling that he shouldn't go near the servants of Jagannath, but Mahaprabhu lives near to the temple. The Gambhir is not far from the temple of Jagannath, so Sanatan Goswami is very much apprehensive about his situation. So then he concludes, this is a wrong conclusion, but he comes to this conclusion. Tadi jadiye deho balo stani diye dukashante hoyara sadgati paye. Therefore, if I sacrifice his body in a good place, my unhappiness will be mitigated and I shall attain an exalted destination. Jagannath Rata Jatrai Hoibena Mahir Tara Rata Chakai Charimu E Sharir. During the Rathayatra festival, when Lord Jagannath comes out of the temple, I shall give up this body under the wheel of his car. So the three cars of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, they are very massive. They're very huge. So it's not. Some people have in the past sacrificed themselves under the wheels of the car, which is not a good thing to do. That's a very wrong thing to do. But Sanatan Goswami was thinking in these extreme ways, although incorrectly, and he thought if he gave up his body in a holy place, that would be better for him, because right now he's doubly condemned, being an outside from the Hindu society and having contagious sores all over his body. Mahaprabhu ageyara deki Jagannath rate deho charimu e parama purusharta. After seeing Lord Jagannath, I shall give up my body under the wheel of the car in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This will be the highest benediction of my life. Eta nisjoy kori nila chaliaila loke puchi haridasastani utarila. Having made this resolution, Sanatan Goswami went to Nilachala, where he asked directions from people and approached the residence of Haridas Thakur. Haridas ser koila tehu charana bandan jani Haridas tare koil alingan. He offered his respect to the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, who knew him and thus embraced him. Mahaprabhu dekite tara udkantita man Haridas kohe Prabhu ashibena ekan. Sanatan Goswami was very eager to see the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore Haridas Thakur said, the Lord is coming here very soon. So Haridas is living in Siddhabaku, and Mahaprabhu would stop there on his way to the sea where he would bathe at midday. Hinakali Prabhu upala bhoga dekiya Haridase milite aila bhaktagana loya. At that very moment, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after visiting the temple of Jagannath to see the offering of upala bhog, morning refreshments, came with his other devotees to see Haridas Thakur. Prabhu deki duhe pare dandavadhaya Prabhu alingila Haridas sere udaya. Seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, both Haridas Thakur and Sanatan Goswami immediately fell flat like rods to offer obeisances. The Lord then lifted Haridas and embraced him. Haridas kohe Sanatana kore namaskar Sanatane deki Prabhu hoila chamatkar. Haridas Thakur said to Mahaprabhu, here is Sanatan Goswami offering his obeisances. Seeing Sanatan Goswami, the Lord was greatly surprised. Sanatane alingite Prabhu agu hoila pache bhage Sanatana kohite lagila. When Mahaprabhu came forward to embrace him, Sanatan Goswami backed away and spoke as follows. Morena chuniya Prabhu padon tomarpai eke nicha jati adama arak kandurasagai. My Lord, please do not touch me. I fall at your lotus feet. I am the lowest of men, having been born of a low caste. Besides that, I have infections on my body. Balakare Prabhutare Alingana Koila Kanduk Kleda Mahaprabhu Sri Ange Lagila. Mahaprabhu, however, embraced Sanatan Goswami by force. Thus, the moisture oozing from the itching sores touched the transcendental body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sabhabhakta Gane Prabhu Milila Sanatane Sanatana Koila Sabar Charana Bandhane. The Lord introduced all the devotees to Sanatan Goswami, who offered his respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of them all. Prabhu loya basila pindara upare bhaktagan pindara tale basila Haridas Sanatan. The Lord and his devotees sat on a raised platform, and below that sat Haridas Thakur and Sanatan Goswami. Kushala Bharta Prabhu, Kushala Bharta Mahaprabhu, Puchena Sanatane, Teho Kohen Parama, Mangala Dekinu Charane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from Sanatan Goswami of his about news of his well-being. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from Sanatan Goswami about news of his well-being. Sanatan replied, everything is auspicious because I have seen your lotus feet. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from Sanatan about news of his well-being. Sanatan replied, everything is auspicious because I've seen your lotus feet. Mathura Vaishnava Saber Kushala Puchila Sabar Kushala Sanatana Janila. When the Lord asked about all the Vaishnavas at Mathura, Sanatan Goswami informed him of their good health and fortune. Prabhu Kohe Ihan Rupa Chiladosha Mas Ihan Hoite Goregela Hoila Dinadas. Mahaprabhu informed Sanatan Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami was here for 10 months. He left for Bengal just 10 days ago. Tomarabai Anupa Mera Hoila Ganga Prapti Balochila Raghunate Drida Tarabhakti. Your brother Anupama is now dead. He was a very good devotee who had firm conviction in Raghunath, Lord Ramachandra. Sanatana Kohe Nicha Bamshe Mora Janma Arama Anjaya Jata Amara Kula Dharma. Sanatana Goswami said, I was born in a low family, for my family commits all kinds of irreligious acts that violate the scriptural injunctions. Hema Vamsha Grina Chari Koila Angikar Tomara Kripai Bamshe Mangala Amar. My Lord, without hatred for my family, you have accepted me as your servant. Only by your mercy is there good fortune in my family. Say Anupama Bai Sishu Kalahoite Raghunatha Upasana Kore Dridachite. From the very beginning of his childhood, my younger brother Anupama was a great devotee of Raghunath, Lord Ramachandra, and he worshipped him with great determination. Ratri Dine Raghunather Nama Arajan Narayana Nir Babadi Narayana no Ratri Dine Raghunatara Nama Arajan Ramayana Nirabadi Shune Koregan. He always chanted the holy name of Raghunath and meditated upon him. He continuously heard about the activities of the Lord from the Ramayana and chanted about them. Amiyara Rupa Tara Jeshta Sahodar Amadoha Sange Teho Rahe Nirantar. Rupa and I are his elder brothers. He stayed with us continuously. Amasab Sange Krishna Kata Bhagavata Shune Tahara Parika Koilun Ami Duijane. He heard Srimad Bhagavatam and talks about Lord Krishna with us, and both of us examined him. He heard Srimad Bhagavatam and talks about Lord Krishna with us, and both of us examined him. Sunaha Vallabha Krishna Parama Madhura Saundarya Madhurya Prema Vilasa Prachura. Dear Vallabha, we said, please hear from us. Lord Krishna is supremely attractive. His beauty, sweetness, and pastimes of love are without limit. So Anupama, or Sri Vallabha, as the youngest brother of Rup Sanatan, he always worshipped Lord Ramachandra. So it says here that they're glorifying Lord Krishna to him and suggesting they're trying to get him to worship Lord Krishna, but Vallabha is fixed on the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra. Dear Vallabha, we said, please hear from us. Lord Krishna is supremely attractive. His beauty, sweetness, and pastimes of love are without limit. Krishna bhajana kora tumiyama duhara sange teen by ekatra rahimu Krishna kata range. Engage yourself in devotional service to Krishna with the two of us. We three brothers shall stay together and enjoy discussing the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Emata bar kohe duijan, amadu hara gorave, kichu firige laman. In this way we spoke to him again and again, and because of this persuasion and his respect for us, his mind turned somewhat toward our instructions. Vallabha replied, my dear brothers, how can I disobey your orders? Initiate me into the Krishna mantra so that I may perform devotional service to Lord Krishna. Tomadu haragya ami kemone lagimu, diksha mantra deho Krishna bhajana korimu. Vallabha replied, my dear brothers, how can I disobey your orders? Initiate me into the Krishna mantra so that I may perform devotional service to Lord Krishna. Eta kohe ratri kale korana chintan kemone chadimu raghunatara charan. After saying this, at night he began to think, how shall I give up the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra? Pardon me. Yeah, it was Lord Raghunath Ramachandra. After saying this at night, he began to think, how should I give up the lotus feet of Lord Raghunath? Lord Raghunath, of course, is Ramachandra. And Vallabha or Nupama, he's a devotee of Lord Ramachandra. And so Rupa and Sanatan are testing him by suggesting that he join with them in worshiping Krishna. But as we see here, when Vallabha or Nupama, it's called both Anupama and Vallabha, I think, when he considers giving up the worship of Lord Ramachandra, it's too painful for him. Sabratri krandana kore koila jagaran pratakaliyama duhai koila nivedan. He stayed up all night and cried. In the morning he came to us and submitted the following plea. Raghunatara parapadme verijachun mata kaditena paron mata payabora vyata. I have sold my head at the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra. I cannot take it away. That would be too painful for me. Kripa kore morayagya deho duijan janme janme sevon Raghunatara charan. The two of you, please be merciful to me and order me in such a way that life after life I may serve the lotus feet of Lord Raghunath. Raghunath tera parapadma chadai chadana najai chadibaram manahoile pranafati koi. Raghunatara parapadma chanaya najai Chadibara Manahoile Pranavati Jai. It is impossible for me to give up the lotus feet of Lord Raghunath. When I even think of giving them up, my heart breaks. Tabeyami duhe tare alingana koilun sadudrida bhakti tomar kahi prasham shilun. Upon hearing this, we each embraced him and encouraged him by saying, "You are a great saintly devotee, for your determination in devotional service is fixed." In this way we praised him. Jevam sharu pare tomar hoy kripalesh sakala mangala tahe kande sabaklesh. My dear Lord, the family upon which you bestow even a little of their mercy. My dear Lord, the family upon which you bestow even a little mercy is always fortunate, for such mercy makes all miseries disappear. Gosai ko hane mata murari gupta purveyami parikilun tara erita. Sri Chaitanya. So, and it's, my dear Lord, the family upon which you bestow even a little mercy is always fortunate, for such mercy makes all miseries disappear. Gosai kohane mata murari gupta purveyami prakilun tara erita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, there was a similar incident concerning Murari Gupta. Formerly I examined him, and his determination was similar. Se Bhaktadana Jaina Chade Prabhur Charan, Se Prabhur Dana Yena Chade Nijajan. Glorious is that devotee who does not give up the shelter of his Lord, and glorious is that Lord who does not abandon his service. Glorious is that devotee who does not give up the shelter of his Lord, and glorious is that Lord who does not abandon his servant. Durdaive sevaka jari jai anyastane se takura danya tare chule dori ane. If by chance a servant falls down and goes somewhere else, glorious is that master who captures him and brings him back by the hair. That was done with Krishnadas when he was the Lord by the Bhattataris when he traveled with Mahaprabhu through South India before going back to Jagannath Puri. But while he was traveling, he always what was I saying just now?
Krishnadas? About how how that happened to Krishnadas.
Okay.
You're giving an example of how that happens to Krishnadas.
Pardon me?
You're giving an example of how that happens to Krishnadas.
Glorious is that. So I'm just going to repeat here. Se Bhakta Danya Jaina Chade Prabhu Charan, Se Prabhu Danya Jaina Chade Nijajan. Glorious is that devotee who does not, Krishnadas. I was talking about when Mahaprabhu traveled with Krishnadas in South India. Krishnadas was allured by the Bhattataris, and the Lord saved him by bringing him back and dragging him by the hair. So here it says, Durdaive sevaka jadi jai anyastani se takura danya tare chule dori ane. If by chance a servant falls down and goes somewhere else, glorious is that master who captures him and brings him back by the hair. And that's exactly what happened with Krishnadas when he was allured by the Bhattacharya. They have some tantric magic, and they captured Krishnadas, who was traveling with Mahaprabhu. So this is not Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. This is Krishnadas who traveled with Mahaprabhu as a servant, and when Mahaprabhu went to South India, when he went there, the Bhattacharya, they're like gypsies who practice tantric magic. They sent some women who captured Krishnadas and then allured him, and then Mahaprabhu saved Krishnadas by going there and defeating. He literally had to fight against the Bhattacharya, and then he took Krishnadas and dragged him by the hair and saved him. Balo hoilo tomar ihan hoilagamane egare raha ihan haridasa sane. It is very good that you have arrived here. Now stay in this room with Haridas Thakur. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Duhe Parama Pradhan Krishna Rasa Ashwadana Koralaha Krishna Nam. Both of you are expert in understanding the mellows of Lord Krishna's devotional service. Therefore, you should both continue relishing the taste for such activities and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So they said, we're told, that both of you are very knowledgeable, and Mahaprabhu says Krishna Bhakti Ras, in tasting what is that ras? That ras, short A means the taste, the juice. So Mahaprabhu is saying both of you are very expert in relishing Krishna Ras. Then you should both continue. You're both expert in tasting Krishna Bhakti Ras, and you should continue, but because both of you are very elevated in this sense. Therefore, you should both continue relishing the taste for such activities and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Etta boli Mahaprabhu Antya-lila Govinda Dwaraya Duhe Prashada Pataila. Having said this, Mahaprabhu got up to leave, and through Govinda he sent prasadam for them to eat. Imata Sanatana Rahe Prabhustane Jagannath Chakradeki Korana Pranami. In this way, Mahaprabhu stayed under the care of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, Sanatan Goswami stayed under the care of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He would see the wheel, or the chakra, he would see the chakra on the pinnacle of the Jagannath temple and offer respectful obeisances. Prabhu Ashi Pratidin Milena Duijane Ishtagosti Krishna Kata Kohe Katakane. Every day Mahaprabhu would go there to meet these two stalwart devotees and discuss topics of Krishna with them for some time. Divya Prasad Pai Nitya Jagannatha Mandire Taha Ani Nitya Avasha Dena Doha Kare. The offering of prasadam in the temple of Lord Jagannath. The offerings of prasadam in the temple of Lord Jagannath were of the highest quality. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would bring this prasadam and deliver it to the two devotees. So every day Mahaprabhu would go there to meet Sanatan and Haridas, Sanatan Goswami and Haridas Thakur, and he'd discuss topics of Krishna with them for some time. The offerings of prasadam in the temple of Lord Jagannath were the highest quality. Mahaprabhu would also bring this prasadam and deliver it to the two brothers. Ekdina Shri Prabhu Duhare Milila Sanataneya Chambite Kohite Lagila. One day when the Lord came to meet them, he suddenly began speaking to Sanatan Goswami. Sanatana deho tyage Krishna charipaye koti deho kanake tabe shadite pariye. My dear Sanatan, he said, if I could attain Krishna by committing suicide, I would certainly give up millions of bodies without a moment's hesitation. So Mahaprabhu knows Sanatan Goswami's mind. Sanatan Goswami wants to throw himself under the wheel of the Jagannath car during Rathayatra because he's very disturbed, because he has contacted a disease that has these itching sores and also we can say is contagious, and he's thinking it's contagious, and when Mahaprabhu embraces him, the fluid from the sores touch the body of Mahaprabhu, and Sanatan Goswami is very disturbed by this, and he thinks he's an offender to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu doesn't take notice, but Sanatan Goswami is very disturbed. So he wants to commit suicide by throwing himself under the wheel of the Rath car. But Mahaprabhu knows his mind, and just out of nowhere, Mahaprabhu says, my dear Sanatan, he said, if I could attain Krishna by committing suicide, I would certainly give up millions of bodies without a moment's hesitation. Deho tyage Krishna napai paye bhajane Krishna praptyera upai ko nahi bhakti vine. You should know that one cannot attain Krishna simply by giving up the body. Krishna is attainable by devotional service. There is no other means for attaining him. So Mahaprabhu is condemning this idea of Sanatan thinking about committing suicide. Deho tyagadi jata sabha tamo dharma tamo rajo dharme krishnera na payi marma. Acts such as suicide are influenced by the mode of ignorance. And in ignorance and passion, one cannot understand who Krishna is. Acts such as suicide are influenced by the mode of ignorance, and in ignorance and passion, one cannot understand who Krishna is. Bhakti bina Krishna kabu nahi premodoi prema vina Krishna prapti anya hoitenoi. Unless one discharges devotional service, one cannot awaken one's dormant love for Krishna, and there is no means for attaining him other than awakening that dormant love. Na sadayati mam yogo na sankyam dharma udava na svadhyayas tapastyago yata bhaktir mamurjita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna said, so Mahaprabhu is quoting from the Srimad Bhagavatam, my dear Uddhava, neither through Ashtanga Yoga, the mystic yoga system for controlling the senses, nor through impersonal monism, or an analytical study of the absolute truth, nor through study of the Vedas, nor through austerities, charity, or acceptance of sannyas, can one satisfy me as much as by developing unalloyed devotional service unto me. So I'm going to stop at this point, and tomorrow I'll continue. But Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatan Goswami, don't even think about this of giving up your body by committing suicide. He says, you cannot attain Krishna by this. It's an act of the mode of ignorance. And Mahaprabhu will then go on to tell Sanatan Goswami that actually his body belongs to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu wants to execute devotional service through the body of Sanatan Goswami. So he says, to destroy somebody else's property is actually very wrong. Mahaprabhu says, your body already belongs to me, and I plan on doing so much through your body, so you have no right to consider destroying the property of destroying property that doesn't belong to you. So we'll hear that tomorrow, but today I'll stop here. A little tired. But it's very beautiful. It's very nice to hear. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raguna Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaite Vignana Shavishta Puran Jaite Vignana Shavishta Puran Echai Gosai Jarmui Taradas Jai Gosai Jarmui Taradas Kasabar Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Kasabar Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Tadar Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Tadar Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame More Abhilas Janame More Abhilas Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, oh, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Marga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunashi Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunash Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsi Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Sokel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardana Maharaj Ki Jai.